So what are the performance standards for your self-storage facility? I'm Jim Ross. He's Matt VanHorn. And this is 3 Mile Domination, where we talk about anything and everything regarding the world of self-storage. All right, this is 3 Mile Domination Quick Hit. We're back with continuing this series when it comes to talking with self-storage management company, and once you've decided on one, that you've gone through the interview process and you're talking to a few of who you want to really vet out. We alluded to it in the last episode here, and that's really of what your plan to have and how that's going to be implemented.
Sure, I think the last one we were talking about having a plan. So figuring out how you're going to get from point A to point D. What is it that you really want? Is it just something where you want to keep it consistent, but you don't want to do it on a day-to-day basis anymore? Or I'm new to this, but I have this investment. I need to get it rented up from 0 to, stabilization, 70, 80%. Or is it that I, want to get a certain rate of return on my money, 6, 7, 8%, whatever it is that you're looking for, whatever it can be reasonably received out of the market.
Yep.
I think that's a good starting point is what do you want? Because as a management company, I'm going to look at what your numbers are. I'm going to look at what you want, and I'm going to sit down and see if I think it's possible. Now, sometimes things are unrealistic and it doesn't work, or I don't think I can do it. But most of the time, we can, with the right people in place, the right marketing plan, the right sales training, the right revenue management setup, keeping the right maintenance schedules on the property, you can get to most reasonable goals without much of an issue in general.
And I know every site is completely different in that market, but let's just say, kind of in general, we've had the experience. We've done this for many, many years, and we have it's a brand new property, blank slate. What are some realistic expectations for owners to have when it comes to for rent up? Say they want to get to, first benchmark would be, let's just say 50% occupancy. What can they expect as far as growth, and what can they put into place to help them reach those goals when it comes to for marketing and for staffing and just basically what's realistic expectation?
Well, I think it varies from market to market, and I know that's it's something that everybody hates when they hear that. But
it does.
We can drill down a little more specifically. Number one, it's going to be dependent on, let's say, if it's a new development, what your bank is giving you for rent up time. Typically, when you take over a property, it's probably 24 months is what you have to get it rented up.
General.
I think you should be, within the first 12, you should be over half, at least. I mean, again, it depends on a lot of factors. I know When we say that, everybody wants to hear, it's going to take, 16.7 months and you'll be here. Yeah. Well, it depends. But I would say within that 24 months, if you're running a good program, you can get there. Now, if let's say you didn't get a feasibility study, or you didn't have a consultant helping you build this, and you just found you inherited 4 acres from your family or something and just built this thing, and you built 300 5x10s and didn't get anybody to help you, then that's going to be a harder proposition. But if you were working with somebody and you built it correctly and you're opening it on the right timeline, there's no reason you shouldn't be able to reach your goal within whatever's set by your financial institution.
Correct. And you alluded to it.
General, whatever it is.
If they had a feasibility in the first place and know there's a demand in that area, I mean, you wouldn't build it unless there was a demand. So if you already got that check mark of this is a good place, this is a great demand, this is where we're going to be building, and you have that in place, again, it's as long as you have a good management company behind you to make sure everything's being implemented correctly and not just sitting there and twiddling your thumbs waiting for the phone to ring. Again, there's a lot of systems to put into place, and we'll definitely be getting into that and what kind of systems you want to have in place to make sure your company's going to succeed. But as long as you have that and keep those on track, like we were talking about, some of those benchmarks of at least 50% occupancy in that first year, the real general rule, it seems to be about 24 months is full occupancy.
I mean, typically your stabilization can be anywhere between And that varies too, but let's say 75 to 85
Yeah, exactly.
is where and that's not break even. I'm talking about stabilization to be able to refinance out of your construction loan.
Correct.
And that's if you bought it there. If this is an acquisition, this is a different process. But the way you get there isn't that much different. But there were a lot of people that back, and I remember this back in the days before the crash. Like I'm saying, '04, '05, '06, that opened properties that had no business ever being opened. I mean, people
Yep.
were speculating like they were gambling in Vegas. For example, I remember one property that I was managing that was out of REO, foreclosed on, that somebody built because they heard that a housing development was going to be built down the street. Well, the housing development never came, and neither did the rentals.
It's pure speculation, huh?
Right. Like I said, you might as well just go play craps. It was just crazy the way it happened. And so I think that's the biggest thing is you have to be set up correctly first, or if you acquire a property, but have somebody advising you while you're doing it. And I'm not talking about a broker. That I'm not talking about it. You mean the broker will sell you the property, and they'll give you a pro forma that looks phenomenal. Who knows where it came from, but it looks phenomenal. And you really need to take those numbers and his pro forma is for or her sale of the property. Your pro forma is what you think you can really do with it, in the time that you're going to have it.
Yep. And that's where you come and you sit down with an experienced person in
Sure.
the self-storage industry and making sure the numbers match up, the performance matches up, expectations are very similar.
Right.
And ultimately developing a plan on how you're going to get to that end goal. I've seen too many times where I don't know, it's just kind of like you throw things against the wall and see what sticks. Like, no, you want to have a set plan from the very beginning of how you're going to reach, like you just said, from point A to point D.
Right.
What you're going to be doing. So,
and then setting expectations is important as well because, we always think when we say, oh, we're going to set expectations, our expectations are too high. Well, no, your expectations could be too low as well. So, you could be sitting there saying, oh, it's going to take me 3 years to fill this when it takes you 12 or, 14 months.
Sure.
You need somebody that will do it. And not only that, but you may not know how to budget these correctly. There are different line items per se in storage than there are in a lot of other things, or those line items are going towards different things. You may not have a self-storage specific lease. Most management companies work with attorneys to make sure those things are done. A marketing plan on how to market storage, how to market it on the web, how to market it on the ground, how to do revenue management, how much to increase, how often, how am I researching my street rates, who are my competitors, what are the features I need to have, how do I need to present these features, who do I need to hire, do I want somebody on site or do I want somebody off site? What's the maintenance schedule supposed to be? What happens when the gate breaks? What happens when the computer breaks? What happens when your roll-up door doesn't work? What happens when somebody throws a brick through your, office and comes in and steals your computer? These kind of things.
Had that happen 4 times in Vegas.
Yeah, I mean, it happens all the time.
Yeah.
And, the checks and balances, the policies and procedures, these are not things you just come up with because somebody threw you in an office one day in a storage facility. These are things you gain with experience and you learn. That is where a management company will help you the most. And like what I said before, you can learn it. But I can tell you that most of the owners I've worked with in the past, and I'm sure Jim is the same way, they have other interests. Storage is typically is not someone's primary interest.
Yep.
I mean, I know we've had plenty of people that were, for say, contractors. I've had some that were big into landscaping companies. We've had one that was a brain surgeon. They had all kinds of different things. So that's the other thing, when we're talking about hiring a management company. If you don't want to manage it all the time, or maybe you just are retired and you don't want to be bothered with the business, you want to go play golf every day and let someone like myself or Jim deal with it.
Yep.
The day-to-day operations, which, they are a headache. That's the way it works. But hiring somebody with experience makes that pain a lot less for you as an owner or an investor.
And ultimately, again, like you said, it frees up their time because usually this is just a small piece of their investment portfolio. It's
right.
Very rarely is storage their 100%. That's where all their income's coming from. Usually that's their portfolio. But when you're looking at hiring a management company, and yes, it is a cost if you want to put it that way of a management fee. But ultimately, what you're paying for, you should be getting back tenfold.
Yeah.
And that it's being operated correctly, that they're going to be getting you more money per month than what you probably would be getting by yourself if you ran it yourself. Because they're putting the systems in place, they're doing their revenue management correctly. So ultimately, they should be making you more money than you would by yourself. So ultimately, it's kind of the management fee is free in a sense.
But it's also, you also correctly. Make more money faster.
Exactly. Yep.
Because if you're on a timetable, let's say you have a construction loan and you need to refinance out of it in 24 months or 18 months, whatever it is, which is typical, you could do it. But the money you're saving is not, you're handicapping yourself. Because you're saving some money, yes, on the management fee. But you will most likely not be able to grow it as fast as a management company can, or as profitably, or understand the levels at what it should be. Because a lot of times owners, and this is a mistake I see over and over again, this isn't just for you newbies, this is for people who own these things for years and years and years. Yeah. Their idea is physical occupancy is the goal. No, it's not. It's money. The bank doesn't care what your physical well, let me rephrase that. The bank does care what the physical occupancy is, but they really care what the economic occupancy is and what the money's coming in.
Yep.
So, that's what you want to focus on. And a lot of times, as owners, it's like, okay, I just want as many people and I'm 100% occupied. Well, nobody cares. Nobody cares if you're 100% occupied. If you're 100% occupied, you lose money anyways, because you should never be 100% occupied, because that means there's people out there that are willing to pay more. But it doesn't matter, because you could rent your property for nothing and be 100% occupied real fast.
Oh, yeah.
It's that balance of getting the highest price per square foot versus speed. And that's where somebody who's been in this industry a long time, and again, not just Jim and I, there's plenty of us out there that are really good at this, that have been doing it for a long time, but having that knowledge can make or break you in terms of speed, but also make your facility more valuable. If I can rent it up faster at a higher rate, then by the time you're ready to refinance, your NOI is going to be a lot higher as if you do it yourself. So again, your valuation will be higher, the appraisal will be higher, and you can refinance out of your construction loan a lot easier.
Yeah, perfect. Great. Well, I think that's a great way to end this segment here. Again, we'll be pumping these out a lot more as let's just continue this series on what to look for when you're hiring a management company and how to vet them and what questions to ask. So we'll just keep this going.
Sounds great.
All right. See ya.
Bye.
Go to 3miledomination.com/call to schedule your free 30-minute marketing tune-up call. I'll give you solid advice you can easily implement with or without us. Until next time.